What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video. Today we're doing a video on ranking every Metallica album. They have 11 albums, and I noticed that I have not made a video of me ranking all the Metallica albums, despite me being a huge Metallica fan. Now, if you do follow me on Instagram, I did rate all the albums. I basically put a picture of the album cover, and I gave it a rating, and I gave a reason why. And if you've seen my story, you might already know what the answers are, but most of you probably don't follow me, so you probably don't know. But if you do want to follow me, it's literally just _benzos_. But some of those ratings might change, but most of them are probably going to stay the same because it wasn't too long ago. But we have all 11 studio albums from Metallica, and I'm not including anything other than their studio albums. So that means that Garage Days, not going to be included. Garage Inc., not going to be included. S&M 1 and S&M 2, not going to be included. And there's singles like I Disappear, not going to be included. So strictly just studio albums. So without making this video any longer, let's just get straight into it with Kill 'Em All. I'm going to give Kill 'Em All a very proud 10 out of 10. This is their first album, which came out in 1983, and this album is just pure thrash. It's, in my opinion, and many others believe, the first ever thrash album to ever be released. And thanks to this album gave birth to thrash metal. Without this album, we might not have Slayer or, Anthrax or Megadeth. I mean, without Metallica, we wouldn't have Megadeth in the first place. But yeah, this album really started it all for thrash metal, and it's a very iconic album and a lot of great songs like Whiplash, Seek and Destroy, and The Four Horsemen, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, probably the greatest bass solo of all metal, and very cool stuff here. It has 2 cover songs, Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg. And this is the Elektra. So this is not from Blackened. This is Elektra. I think the Blackened version does not have Am I Evil or Blitzkrieg. I think it just has all of the songs except those 2, because those 2 are cover songs. If they do, then I just look stupid. But very solid album. It's a 10 out of 10. And my favorite song is Whiplash, in case anybody cares. But yeah, very nice solo. Like I said, it's very iconic. Just like the next 4 albums we're going to go over. Spoiler alert, these next 4 albums are 10 out of 10s. So I kind of just spoiled it. But you all can probably agree with me on this one, because if you've heard it, of course. Next, we have, I actually got the order mixed up, Ride the Lightning. This is straight after Kill 'Em All, coming in 1984. And Ride the Lightning, some people say it's their best album. I disagree, but it's very good. Yeah, I mean, this album is also really thrashy, a lot of iconic songs, Fight Fire with Fire, very good opener. Also my favorite song on the album. Ride the Lightning, of course, the title track, awesome song. For Whom the Bell Tolls, very iconic. Fade to Black, probably the best metal ballad of all time. Besides maybe One by Metallica. But my God, Fade to Black is such a deep and just beautiful song. Escape, which is not their favorite song. It's a good song, but they don't like it. Trapped Under Ice is a decent song. Creeping Death, probably one of the most fun songs to play live. And probably one of the most fun songs to be there live to watch it. Because you have the whole crowd just chanting Die, and it's just very cool. And then The Call of Cthulhu, which is a very nice instrumental. And very iconic album. And yeah, some very nice work in here. A little bit of Dave Mustaine. This album, a lot of Dave Mustaine was on it. Not all of it. This album had some Dave Mustaine on it too. But I think Ride the Lightning is where it stopped having Dave. I think there might be maybe one song that had Dave's work on Master Puppets. But if you don't know who Dave Mustaine Dave Mustaine. I probably, I mean, I don't know how you don't know him if you're watching this video, but Dave Mustaine is the guy who created Megadeth. And yes, I am one of those people who say, if it wasn't for him getting kicked out of Megadeth, if it wasn't for him getting kicked out of Metallica, there wouldn't be any Megadeth. And I think even Megadeth fans can agree with me on that. Because if he wasn't kicked out, he'd still be the lead guitar for Metallica, which would be crazy. Probably in an alternate universe, Cliff is still alive and Dave is still in the band. But anyways, yeah, Ride the Lightning, that's a 10 out of 10. If you disagree, I don't know what to tell you. Master of Puppets, I'm pretty sure we all know what this is going to be ranked. 10 out of 10. Came out in 1986, and I don't even think I have to explain why this album is a 10 out of 10. This is literally the staple of metal. This is the metal album. No joke. This is metal. This is the metal album. And the title track, Master of Puppets, is the literal metal anthem. This is, if the genre of metal had a theme song, it would be Master of Puppets. This album is a 10 out of 10. Nobody can disagree. No matter what music you listen to, what genre of metal you listen to, this is a 10 out of 10 album. Very thrashy. The opening track, Battery, is just such a great song. It's my second favorite song of all time from Metallica. And my second favorite song of all time in general of music. Favorite song on the album, of course, Master of Puppets, like I said, very iconic. The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah. Fantastic riffs. This whole album is full of great riffs. Orion, which is one of the most beautiful pieces of work Cliff Burton has ever made. And then Damage Incorporated as the closing track. But I don't think this needs any explanation of why this is a 10 out of 10 album. And if you're a metal fan, if you listen to metal and you disagree with this album being a 10 out of 10, I am seriously concerned, and you should probably stop listening to metal. And I think every single like Metallica album rating video I've ever seen on YouTube, everyone has given this a 10 out of 10. And I've seen lists of the top 10 most iconic metal albums of all time. This is always a number one, because it's literally Master of Puppets. So that's 10 out of 10. No debate on that one. And the third album, And Justice for All, which I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. Now, I might be a little bit biased because it's my favorite album by Metallica, and it's just my favorite album of all time in music. But I think a lot of people can agree with me on that decision, because this album is so, like, it's so technical, it's so diverse, and it's just, it really, Metallica really showed the world how far they can push their skills with this album, and it's very good. All right, and for all the people who hate on Lars's drumming, which I don't even know why he gets hate on his drumming. He's a very good drummer, especially in the first 5 albums. He's fantastic. But Injustice and Injustice for All, his drumming is peak. And if you don't believe me, listen to Dyer's Eve. And you can't lie, his drumming is a piece of art. It's really good. But yeah, And Justice for All, their longest songs, their longest album, and this is right after when Cliff died, because this is the last album that Cliff was on. This featured Jason Newsted, and I have a lot of respect for Jason. I love Jason. He's probably as much as I love Cliff, I think Jason's probably my second, I think he might be my first, my favorite bass player for Metallica. Jason he brought so much energy with the band, especially when they performed Creeping Death. Man, he was awesome. But Blackened, awesome opener, and Justice for All, the title track, very good. Eye of the Beholder, very good song. One, which is one of their best songs of all time, one of the best ballads in metal. Shortest Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, The Frayed Ends of Sanity, very good songs. The riffs in this album were very, very good. And the progression for these songs, it's very good progression. And To Live Is To Die, which is another one of my favorite instrumentals. Nearly 10 minutes. Before their new album came out, this was the longest song they've ever made, which was 9 minutes and 48 seconds, To Live Is To Die. And then my favorite Metallica song, and my favorite song in all of music, Dyer's Eve. Love that song to death. But yeah, this album is a 10 out of 10. And I feel like a lot of people can agree with me on that. So yeah. And then, finally, don't worry, not all these albums are 10 out of 10s. This is the last 10 out of 10 album that Metallica has, in my opinion. And that is the Black Album. And it's literally the best-selling metal album of all time. There has never been any other band in the entire metal genre who have ever sold more albums than the Black Album. And yeah, this album, not only did it sell good, it sounded good. And this is the album that gets accused of, oh, they became sellouts. I still don't get why they say that. This album is still really thrashy, very good quality, very good produced, and the songs are so catchy. And I think the reason why people say this is Metallica's sellout album is because they finally got a producer. And I don't really know. I think people call this the album that they sold out because they stepped up their quality in music, which is really weird because wouldn't you want them to step up their quality? But apparently they sold out, which I don't understand that. Hopefully somebody in the comments can explain that to me if you're one of those people. But this album just has so many great songs. Enter Sandman as the opening track. Enter Sandman is their biggest song, along with Master of Puppets. Sad But True, very heavy. Holier Than Thou, The Unforgiven, which is a very... The Unforgiven is great. All three of them are good. Whenever I May Roam, Don't Tread on Me, Through the Never, Nothing Else Matters, which Nothing Else Matters has over 1 billion views on YouTube alone. And very good, very, very good ballad, for sure. Of Wolf and Man, The God That Failed, my favorite song on the album, My Friend of Misery, and The Struggle Within, which it's kind of tied with like My Friend of Misery and The Struggle Within. They're like kind of head to head, but those two songs I really do enjoy on this album. But yeah, I'd say that Master of Puppets is their best album of all time, but the Black Album, in my opinion, I think Justice is their best album they ever made. Their most iconic album is Master of Puppets, and their best-selling album is the Black Album. But anyways, yeah, 10 out of 10 albums. So these 5 albums right here are 10 out of 10s. I don't think there's any debate. It's just straight facts. Now, for the rest of them, there's not a single 10 out of 10 here, but very good albums. So we're gonna get into here. We're gonna get into it. So we have Load. This is, so, you know, these first 4 albums are like really thrashy, very fast. Then the Black Album is like heavy metal kind of. And then once we get past the Black Album, we get into Load and Reload. And this is kind of like, people like to say their grunge era, but I don't really know what to call it. I think it's still like heavy metal kind of. A lot of similarities to the Black Album. But I think Load and Reload are decent albums, and there's a lot of good songs on here. Until It Sleeps, King Nothing. The song that carries this whole entire album, Hero of the Day. Hero of the Day is such a great song, and definitely the best song on the album. My favorite song of the album. And this album gets a solid 7 out of 10. But if Hero of the Day wasn't on this album, probably give it a 6. But that song alone just gives it an extra point, because, man, that song is so good. Listen to Hero of the Day. Very nice song. But there's a lot of good songs in here. I prefer their styles on the first 5 albums, but Metallica's take on grunge, kind of, is also not bad. 7 out of 10. But I do enjoy Reload a little bit more. You have Fuel, which they always play. Fuel is probably the best song, or like the most iconic song from both the albums of Reload and Load. But Fuel, The Memory Remains, The Unforgiven 2, which is my favorite Unforgiven. And if you watch my other video where I showed my entire Metallica collection, I literally have a single of just The Unforgiven 2, because I like that song so much. Better Than You is very good. Slither, Bad Seed, Low Man's Lyric, which is a pretty nice ballad, I'd say. But yeah, I do enjoy Reload more, but I think Hero of the Day knocks all the songs out of the park from both albums. But this, I'm also going to give a 7 out of 10. They're both basically the same damn album. Same style of music. Next, we have Saint Anger. And I'm going to give this album a very deserved 5 out of 10. I am not one of those people who enjoy this album. I feel like if I was alive, well, I was alive. I feel like if I was old enough at the time if I was old enough to, at the time, okay, at the time when this album came out, if I was a Metallica fan, I probably would have liked it. But being a kind of more like a newer Metallica fan, what I mean by newer, I've been listening to Metallica for almost 2 years now, like every day, all day. And, you know, I know a lot of people say when it comes to Saint Anger, don't compare it to the other albums, but that's really hard when you've heard beautiful work from the first 5 albums, and then you hear this, and you can't help but compare them. It's not a good album. In terms of quality, I think, and this album is over 20 years old, if they remastered this, I think it would be very good. Because if you listen to them play the Saint Anger songs live, it sounds good. Because the sound quality is great, the drums actually sound good, and the quality of the band sounds great live when they're playing these songs, but studio version does not sound great at all. So I think if they were to remaster and re-release the album, I think I might enjoy all the songs on here. But judging off the studio quality, I think the sound quality is very muddy, very dirty, and we all know the drums don't sound good. I think he's drumming nice, but the sound quality of the drums is what kills it. But this is definitely, unfortunately, a 5 out of 10. But like I said, don't know why. It's been over 20 years. Remaster the damn album, please, Metallica, please. And I think it might sound good if they remastered it. But for now, it's a 5 out of 10. Their worst album they've ever made. Next, in 2008, I'm not keeping up with the dates, but this was 2003, I think. 2008, right here. So this came out a year after I wasn't alive. I'm an idiot. So I wasn't even alive at the time. But if I was alive at the time when this came out, I might have liked it. This, I was alive, but I was 1 year old. Death Magnetic, this was them coming back to their roots. And I think this suffers the same thing that Saint Anger did, not as badly though. I think the sound quality and the mixing, there's something off about it. Again, I think if these 2 albums got a re-release, I might enjoy them more. But I think that The Unforgiven 3 is a very good song. I think All Nightmare Long is also a good song. My Apocalypse is great. That Was Just Your Life. But The Day That Never Comes carries this entire album. And they also play that song live a lot, which makes sense because it's the best song on the album. And it's my favorite song on the album. And yeah, The Day That Never Comes is very good. But I don't know if it was in their words, I think it was, but it was them coming back to their roots. And when I mean their roots, I'm talking about their early albums, which if you listen to this compared to Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, doesn't sound similar. It's thrashy, it's fast, it's heavy, it's nice, but the quality kind of kills it a little bit. So I'm going to give this album a 7 out of 10. The exact same rating as I gave Load and Reload. So yeah, Death Magnetic, as much as I would love to like it, I just can't. Next, we have Hardwired, which came out in 2016. And I think this album slaps. I think they did a fantastic job on this album. And before I even get into detail, right off the bat, 9 out of 10 album. Just throwing it out there. Hardwired. Okay, first of all, this should have been the album that they said back to the roots, because this is thrashy. It's very, very good, and the sound quality is, oh my god, the quality is great. Mixing is fantastic. Hardwired, the opening track, very fast, very thrashy, very nice. Atlas Rise is good, and Now That We're Dead is good. Moth into Flame, very catchy. Confusion is very good. Man Unkind, love the intro to Man Unkind. Am I Savage, Murder One, and my favorite song on this album, Spit Out the Bone, which I think might be their most diverse song they've ever made in their entire 40 plus years. Spit Out the Bone, it's like every element of metal into one song. It's like you have like multiple solos, very catchy riffs, choruses, and hooks, and then the solo has a fade in, like a fade out, which is very nice, very fast, and just listen to it, man. Spit Out the Bone is 7 minutes of greatness, and I think it's probably one of my favorite closing songs to an album. Spit Out the Bone is very good, and I'm gonna give it a okay, I think I'm hyping it up too much. Not Spit Out the Bone. I'm hyping up Spit Out the Bone perfectly. It's a really good album. A really good song. But I'm going to change my rating to an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it an 8. But, man, it is a very good album. And Spit Out the Bone just carries the entire album. And not that it needs carrying, because most of the songs are good. But if these two albums like were mixed into one, like if you took the best songs from 72 Seasons and the best songs from Hardwired, it's a 10 out of 10 album. But yeah, Hardwired, 8. 72 Seasons, 9. I'm giving this a 9. And I think it might be because of the fact that I was actually like, I think it might be because of the fact that, because in 2016 I wasn't a Metallica fan. In 2016 I was listening to rap music, so I didn't know about it. But I think being a metal fan, and being able to witness and be there at the time when this was released, and I pre-ordered this. I pre-ordered this album, came in the mail the first day it got released or something like that. And I think being a big Metallica fan at the time and experiencing them release a new album, it was the first time I've ever experienced Metallica release a new album while I was a fan of the band. So I think that plays a part in the reason why I love this album so much. And I don't know if y'all can understand like what I'm trying to say here, but like I think that because I've been listening to Metallica for almost 2 years now, right? And I think that being alive and being a big Metallica fan at the time when they released this album really just made me like it even more, because I'm like, damn, I was alive to hear 72 Seasons when it first came out. You know what I mean? I don't even know if y'all understand what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm giving this album a definitely 9 out of 10. And I think when I was when I made the 72 Seasons, when I did the review when the album first came out, I gave it a 10 out of 10. But I'm a back down and give it a 9. But I do like this album just as much as the first 5 albums. I have the first 5 albums and 72 Seasons in vinyl, so that's how much I like them. They're actually back there. I don't know if you can see them, but I do have all 6 of these albums in vinyl. I would like to get all the albums on vinyl, but let's actually talk about 72 Seasons. So 72 Seasons, the opening track, it's a long song, but it's definitely worth it towards the end. It's really thrashy and it's really nice. Shadows Follow, very catchy, very groovy. Screaming Suicide. I think Screaming Suicide might be the weakest song on the album, but it's still pretty good. Sleepwalk My Life Away. Very catchy, very good. You Must Burn. Groovy, very good. Lux Eterna. The shorter song on the album, but it gives you it has heavy Kill 'Em All vibes. I feel like if Lux Eterna was on Kill 'Em All in 1983, I think it would fit perfectly. Crown of Barbed Wire, very heavy song. I think Crown of Barbed Wire is probably the... Okay, my phone died, but let's get back into it. Yeah, I think Crown of Barbed Wire is probably the Sad But True of the album. Really heavy. Chasing Light Chasing Light's good as well. If Darkness Had a Sun, I love the intro to If Darkness Had a Sun, because it has like this, like like the snare, and then the bass is like the bass pedal. I love it. The intro's good. Too Far Gone, also very catchy, and very nice. And then Room of Mirrors, the riff to Room of Mirrors, I love that riff. And then and by the way, this entire album has very good riffs. And it has a lot of Kill 'Em All vibes, I think. And the final song on the album, which is as of right now their longest song that they've ever made, and it is Inamorata, which comes in at 11 minutes long. And before, their longest song was To Live Is To Die on Justice, which was 9 minutes and 40 something seconds. And Inamorata is a ballad. It's the ballad of the album, and this song is so good. The first time I heard it, I loved it. And for a song that is 11 minutes long, you have to keep the listener into it, because you don't want it to be 11 minutes of, boringness. But man, it progresses great. So like the first half of the song, like the first part of the song is like, she needs me, I need her more, she loves me, I love her more, like that part, right? And then towards the middle, you get like the bass, like the bass bridge, I want to say bridge kind of, and then he starts singing, but all the instruments are turned off. All you can hear is the bass and like the hi-hat a little bit, and he's singing the chorus. I always get the chorus and the hook mixed up, but it's the part where he says, she needs me, I need her more, she loves me, I love her more, she kills me, but I end this war. You know what I mean? And he's singing that while the bass is going and like the hi-hats, and it gets louder and louder and louder, and he's like, it's really good. It's really good. I'm probably, if you haven't heard the song, I'm probably confusing the hell out of you, but it's a very good song, and probably the most personal song that he's made on this album, because this song is about his relationship with his ex-wife, and they have like 2 or 3 kids, and they've been together for over a decade. So he wrote a song about it, and it's probably very deep and personal for him. Right now, they're on a tour for the album, and they have not performed this song yet. I don't think they will. It's kind of like Dyer's Eve, because Dyer's Eve is a very personal song for James, because it's about how his parents just were very bad parents, and very personal song for him, and they don't ever perform that song. The last time they performed that song was like 2000 something, and like before 2010, like 2005 or something. Yeah, they still have yet to play Inamorata, but despite it being a very personal song, it's so good. And you know what I just noticed? James, like, Metallica's most personal songs are always their best songs. Fade to Black, Inamorata, Dyer's Eve, you know what I mean? Like, very nice, very good stuff. Even though they're really personal and very hard topics for James Hetfield, and hard topics for other people who can relate to this. Like, I can relate a lot to Inamorata. I mean, I don't have an ex-wife, and I wasn't with an ex-wife for 10 years, but I can relate to that with past relationships. And man, very good song. I love Inamorata. Inamorata is a very good song. That song alone is a 10 out of 10. But I don't want to be biased and give the album a 10 out of 10, because I would love to, but I'm going to give it a 9. Yeah. And I don't see a lot of hate, but there is like little times you see people hating on the album. But overall, people really enjoyed the album, and I really did. But yeah, Inamorata, very good. Love that song. It seems like I'm just talking about this song, but it's a very good song. I think you know what? I think it probably is my favorite song on the album, Inamorata. But yeah, very good song. I just spent the past 3 minutes talking about it. Hopefully I hyped you up to listen to it. You should. Very good. But that's it for the video. This video is 30 minutes long. I did not expect it to be that long. That's why the video cut, because I ran out of storage. I had to delete some stuff. But that's it for the video. I think these ratings are exactly the same on my Instagram story. So, I'm probably never ever going to do a Metallica album rating ever again until their next album, which probably won't come out until 6 or 7 years later, because, looking how far, this came out in 2016. This came out in 2023. This came out in 2008. So, like 5-6 year gap. So, next time you'll see an album rating, I will be way more experienced when it comes to metal and Metallica, and who knows, these ratings might be different. But that's it for the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.